and welcome again to Health Exposure. Now, I get the task this time of asking all of Chicago and whomever, are you constipated? Wait, I brought help. Deborah, what's a normal?
No, I'm not. No, I'm fine, thank you.
What's a normal healthy colon? And tell them you put me up to this.
Well, you know, it's interesting because actually today I was working with a client, a new client, and I said, so are you still constipated? And his retort was, oh, I'm not constipated unless you think moving my bowels 4 inches a day is constipated. So I was like, yes, it is. You have 22 feet of small intestine and you have 5 to 6 feet of large intestine, and optimally every day you should be moving at least 10% of that in inches, which comes out to what? 22 plus 6, we're talking 28 inches, so you should move at least 28 inches or so of feces out of the colon every single day. That's a tremendous job.
Goodness.
Right. So you're
That's incredible. I mean, it really is. At 28 inches?
Well, thereabouts. And if you at least give yourself a good 20-inch bowel movement, you know that you're cleansing the colon every single day.
Is that how one knows if they're constipated? By the size and length of feces, I suppose?
Yes. So if in fact you're moving your bowels 2 inches a day, you know, and many people come in, Kurt, when they meet with me, and I'll say, are you moving your bowels regularly? And they say, yeah, I move once a week, twice a week, 3 times a week, once a day, 2 inches of stool is evacuated. It's not enough. And even though a physician may tell someone, if you move once a week and that's what you've been doing all your life, you're perfectly normal, that's not true. That's not a healthy colon. And the well-being of the body as a whole is dependent upon this muscle, the large intestine, sphinctering and moving all this excess unused waste along. So if you're not moving your bowels every single day, you're in trouble. And if you're not moving at least, I'd say 12 to 20 inches of stool a day, you're not moving your bowels and you are constipated, as well as you could be anyway.
I see. Deborah, what causes constipation?
Well, the typical American diet.
Okay.
Why do you have your nose turned up like that? You're so cute. You're like, what causes constipation?
I don't know what causes constipation.
The typical American diet. I mean, people consume a lot of caffeine, which is very dehydrating. They consume a great deal of diet sodas, which basically are lots of chemicals. It kills off good friendly flora in the gut and the good friendly bacteria. People eat primarily dead food diets, and dead food diets are simply highly processed foods with lots of additives, hormones, antibiotics. We're looking at coloring agents, fillers and binders like guar gum and calcium carbonate, things like that, that take up space and keep products from sticking together. All of those basically just kind of gel up in the colon and create more mucus, which binds the feces. Many people eat a relatively high amount of starch and protein in comparison to water-based foods like fruits and vegetables, which creates more constipation. And people are on lots of medications. Many Americans, I think it's something like 1 out of, is it 15 or so now, are on antidepressants.
Oh, yes, yes.
Antidepressants suppress the parasympathetic nervous system and also slow down metabolism, which causes more constipation as well. So people aren't consuming enough water. They think coffee is water. You know, it's not. It's a dehydrating. No,
you can't get by a show, can you? You just can't. You see, you just can't get by a show without doing the coffee thing. All right.
He is so guilty.
Guilty.
I've never said a word about coffee and Kurt, did I? Coffee and Kurt.
My color fades. I need the coffee. I tell you.
I need my chemicals. Don't take my drug away. So coffee will do it, but, you know, I mean, not consuming water and certainly not eating fiber. So there's a huge list or a long list of different, you know, reasons why people may become more constipated over their lifespan.
I would imagine there are special foods you're going to tell us about that we should be eating or shouldn't be eating regarding constipation?
Well, it's interesting, Kurt, because when I work with people from a dietary vantage point, I see that when we increase proteins and, you know, even though we increase the oils and the fruits and the vegetables, sometimes constipation ensues, especially if they're already constipated. So there are what we call mucoid former foods that create more mucus in the colon, and those are your processed starchy foods like your breads and pastas and bagels and, your cereals that are not whole grain but are more processed, low in fiber. They're just doughy and they stick together in the intestines. And then you've got your mucus former protein. So if you do a lot of animal meats, which are very dense and heavy, okay, and have a greater percentage of saturated fat, they create more mucus in the colon as well, whereby fish create less mucus because they're higher. They have a higher percentage of water or fluid in that protein. Your oils create actually a lubrication for the intestinal tract, especially the first 5 feet of the small intestine. And then you have your fruits and vegetables, which are water-based, and they create a lot of water in the bowel. So those are very beneficial. They actually help to balance the mucus. So I had one client who said, I'm getting a little bound up, and I said, you know what, just throw in another cup of vegetables and another piece of fruit. Boom. He was rolling.
Oh, that's good.
Yes.
That's good.
So,
can one increase fiber quickly?
not a good idea. You'll end up with fur balls in your intestines. Everybody have a cat out there that gets fur balls, kind of like, I call them fur balls in your intestines.
Okay.
Not a good idea.
I see.
Most Americans actually consume maybe 4, 5, 6 grams of fiber a day, at the most 10. Optimally, we want to consume at least 20 to 35 or 40.
Oh,
so
really?
if you immediately go up to 35 grams of fiber a day, the problem with that is, A, your body's not accustomed to it. You're probably not hydrated enough. You're going to end up with this goop that ends up kind of blocking up the colon, and you become more constipated. So it's always wise to start with the water-soluble fibers first, increasing those wholesome grains, and then doing your fruits and vegetables, which create more water in the bowel and help to scrub the intestines out. So I say go up to maybe 10 grams a day if you do 5. And how do you know what a gram is? Well, a piece of fruit gives you maybe 3. A cup of vegetables gives you maybe 2 or 3.
Mm-hmm.
So, if in fact you do 2 pieces of fruit a day and 2 cups of vegetables a day, you're looking at 9 to 10 grams of fiber.
Oh, I see. Well, this time I get to sound smart, and I get to say enzymes. I don't know what I'm going to say about enzymes, but I get to say enzymes.
What do they do? All right. Well, enzymes are really beneficial for many people, and what happens with the body if you've not consumed live foods for quite some time, and most kids are growing up on what we call the typical American diet, which is enzymatically deficient. And enzymes, according to most biochemists, are what we call the key to life. And the key to life means that you make enzymes of which your body produces hundreds a day, help to break down all of your foods. There are proteases for proteins, lipases for fats, amylases for carbohydrates, and cellulases for fiber. Or cellulases for fiber. So you have, in fact, all these enzymes that help to break down these different components that are found in wholesome live foods. If you're eating foods that don't contain active live enzymes, like your fruits and your vegetables and your whole grains that haven't been processed, and your raw seeds and nuts and your cold water fish, then you end up with a gut that becomes barren. And if you have a gut or a stomach that doesn't have enough enzymes, the food will sit there and sit there and sit there. And when you eat a meal, you feel full for maybe 4, 5, 6 hours after eating.
Oh, my goodness.
That's a sign that you're enzymatically deficient. Constipation is a sign that you're enzymatically deficient. People who bloat and swell after eating, food, they just, go to sleep. The food's sitting there. All of the energy is going to the gut to help break the food down. So your body's like, could you take a nap? Get really tired after lunch. So that's a sign that you need enzymes. Oftentimes you don't need to take enzymes for the long term. You simply need to take enzymes for maybe 2 or 3 months to get the body recycled into producing its own enzymes, and then increase your diet so it includes more live foods.
Oh, I see.
And then you'll start reproducing your own enzymes and making your own, just by the mere fact that you're consuming more live foods than processed foods.
Aren't you glad I asked this question? I never know what's
Here
coming.
we go.
And there she goes. I'm going, okay. What natural herbs help constipation?
Well, a lot of people get hooked on herbs. There are many out there that are quite good. Cascara sagrada is one of my favorite herbs. Cascara sagrada is just as it sounds. It's 2 words, and it's known to actually help the bowels evacuate.
Yes.
Capers are very good. They're found in a product called Levotrit. We have fennel tea, which is excellent. Berberine is another herb. Garlic is usually very good for helping people to move. Aloe vera is excellent. Aloe vera is not necessarily an herb, it's a plant extract, but it helps to lubricate the intestines. And there are a myriad of them, but be careful, because if you continue to use herbs extensively for a long period of time, it can become very problematic. And you can end up very, very addicted to those herbs. So if in fact you increase your diet to include enough live foods and you eat enough calories, you should normally move your bowels. You know, if you're not moving your bowels well, then generally the first thing you always look at is whether or not there's enough food coming into the system. So there's enough energy to expend or get rid of. If there's not, the bowel will be the first system, or the intestines will be the first system to shut down. Because your body can live without calories for the intestinal tract. It will take the fuel you give it and it will service the brain, the heart, the parasympathetic nervous system. So let's say, Kurt, you need 1,800 calories a day and you eat 12. Your body goes selectively, I think I'll give his brain a little bit of fuel. Okay, I'll give his heart the rest of it. And you know what? He doesn't have enough to do the regeneration while he's sleeping, so we'll keep him up at night. Maybe he'll get the idea that I'm hungry and I need to be fed. So you don't sleep as much. You have trouble staying asleep. Your body wakes you up and goes, hello, I'm hungry.
Oh,
so that's
interesting.
a sign. You know, 9 times out of 10
Now,
of
is that
people,
parasympathetic? Is that, you mentioned that word, and
that's the autonomic nervous system that works when you're actually sleeping. So respiration, detoxification, you know, all those little functions that you don't even know your body's going through every single
is
day.
parasympathetic. Now, what is sympathetic?
Sympathetic is the other system that we actually breathe with, like when you go like that, and you're nervous, you know, you take a big breath.
I see.
So those are
Okay.
the systems that you want. Your body has to have energy to do all of the work every single day. So you must make sure that, in fact, the endocrine system, which is guided by the parasympathetic nervous system, is doing what it has to do. It's laying down hormones, it's making the thyroid function, the adrenals, the pituitary and the hypothalamus are all controlled by the parasympathetic nervous system, and they do all of their busy bee activity when you're sleeping at night.
Oh, I see.
So if there's not
So if you're
enough-
not sleeping, they
they're
can't
not
do their
doing
work.
their deeds. Yeah, their
Oh, I
good deeds
see.
every day, which is healing and regeneration and laying down and building and detoxification. So you want to make sure that the system is getting enough fuel. Always, 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 if you're not moving your bowels or you're not sleeping, look at the number of calories you're consuming every day. And there's a simple thing that you can do.
Okay.
You can simply take your current weight times 12 to find out how many calories you need a day. Now,
So you'll need to get a calculator. No.
unless you're really good with your multiplication tables. Don't have to divide, so it's easy. Yes, so you
Okay.
can multiply. Now, the problem is, let's say, for instance, I need 1,800 calories a day for my weight and size. If, in fact, I go more than 500 calories away, or if anyone goes or takes in less than 500 calories a day away from their basal metabolic needs, your body will go into what we call a stall. Okay, where it shuts down metabolism and starts conserving fuel as fat rather than burning it. And when you don't move your bowels, that's a sign again that there's not enough fuel coming in consistently. You may find that one day you have great bowel movements, and if you look back at the day prior, you ate a great number of calories. And then there's a day where you had none. You know, and the day prior to that, you ate a minimal amount of calories, not enough to service the system to
I
make
see.
it operate.
I see. Now you talked about fish, but you haven't said too much about water. H2O.
Oh, water.
I know you like water. Water.
Yes, we do. Water is so important, Kurt. It's the primary medium by which the body functions. If you don't have water, your body cannot cycle the toxins out. It can't even pull vitamins and minerals into the cell. It won't make the friendly bacteria. It won't clear the bowels out. It will not help to evacuate. You know,
Whoa. Friendly bacteria?
friendly versus bad. Yes. Friendly
I get the
bacteria.
feeling that I'm the straight man for this show. I mean, you know, okay, friendly bacteria.
Right. Friendly bacteria is basically a bacterium that the body makes. There are many, but the primary bacteria that we're most familiar with that helps in creating a healthy ecological environment within the bowel is called Lactobacillus acidophilus.
I knew that.